we often end up talking. Hi, I'm Em.
I'm Erica.
This is The Shift Show.
The Shift Show!
The Shift Show!
We're trying to decide what
We're feeling into what
we want to talk about.
we want to talk about, or like a general topic, and maybe we don't need to have a general topic. I was talking about, first I was saying I have a list, which is funny because I've playing more and more with having less and less lists, although I appreciate that there's a balance, right? And then I was saying that I want, on my list, I believed there was manifestation, which is interesting because when I looked at my list, there wasn't. And I said, ooh, we could talk about manifestation.
She did. That was the first thing she mentioned.
And that brought up for you.
Well, then I was going back into maybe we talk about transitions because our relationship is going through transitions. Micah Soul is in constant transition.
Yes.
I'm in transition in a certain area of my life, certain areas. Em's in transition in a certain area. And so maybe
I believe
the
collectively, also just like being in the current, these are all stories, but the season in the United States currently is a shift from summer to fall, even if it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
Weather-wise, there is, wherever you are, at this moment, there is that transition of going from this celebratory summer feeling into a little bit more of a fall feeling.
Yeah.
So anyways,
and the fall is what, the transition time, right? Change time.
Yeah.
And, well, it's timely then that this is all happening at this point. Making big decisions about life, moving out,
moving in.
And so what that brought up for me, the transitions, was resistance. And so I ran downstairs and I got a book, The Desire Map by Danielle LaPointe. And I love this quote. Your resistance, because so when Em told me that she was moving into her booze house, I was going to say moving on up.
Moving into booze.
I had some heartbreak open, and I had some resistance, and I had some contrasting feelings about the move because it's become so comfortable and so much, she's become like home, at home, right? And just like when you break up with somebody or you move on to a new job or you leave a profession, it brings up all these feelings. And I call it changes bring up resistance for me. Transitions, transformations, they bring up resistance for me. So your
beanbags or whatever.
Beanbags, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, thorns, pain bodies. Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Energy.
Energy.
It can bring up
emotions,
energy
feelings.
that there's something that's stuck that's ready to be freed.
Right. And it's natural for us because comfort is found in familiarity. And when things change, which they inevitably always do, that's the only
constant is change.
the only constant is change, then feelings bubble up, right? And
growth.
Yeah, growth, expansion. And so this quote is reassuring to me. Your resistance is a sign that your system is reconfiguring itself towards success. And I can speak to that in both a neurological sense and a biological, which I think they're hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
So, and this is the part that's fascinating to me.
Yeah,
and then you can
ahead.
talk about the spiritual part and the emotional part and like the human experience part. So biologically, your cells are used to being in a certain configuration based on the comfort level and the safety level of your current situation. And as soon as you start changing things or they start experiencing new experiences, then they start reconfiguring itself. The cells in your body, the billions of cells that we have, start to reconfigure themselves. Neurologically, what happens, and this is in the research, like 2 weeks after the new year, the gyms are empty, right? And it's because we get super excited about the new year, the new you, the new whatever, and then you get
There, we see some little booze out there having an adventure with a hat from Mexico on.
okay.
Okay.
I lost my train of thought.
Gyms.
Oh yeah, gym. So
After
when
the
you
new year.
decide to do something new, the first day you're totally motivated, totally excited. You got your new clothes, you got your water bottle, you're going,
Yeah,
you're going.
you do.
The second day it feels good. The
Cute
third day you're like,
clothes.
the fourth day you're like, and the fifth day you quit. And it's because you need integration time. You need time for those cells to get used to the new habit, right?
It's almost like a, this word, I'm like, it's like a breakthrough.
It is.
Like you're,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're breaking through
The
the
resistance.
old stories,
Energy. Or
Yeah, the old energy.
Cellular.
narrative.
Yeah.
And neurologically, when you first decide to make this transition or this change, your brain just like pops out tons of dopamine and endorphins, and you feel really good, not just here, not just in your mood, but in your body too.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost euphoric for a little while, until you push through that resistance and you either let the resistance win, or you push through and you allow those endorphins and those cells to recalibrate and reemerge and shift how good you feel about this change, and eventually it just becomes your new normal. So yeah, that's what I gotta say. So
New normal.
transitions,
Yeah.
they're a big thing right now. Everybody is going through them, whether you want to admit it or not.
Yeah. Well, the world is more and more. I mean, it always has been. To me, it feels more and more. I am more and more aware of how much we're transitioning, which, like you've said before, kind of, it's growth, right?
Yeah, we're in
And
two
sometimes
modes.
we see it as like growing pains. Oh, when you were talking about, in some ways we're talking about manifestation and we're talking about transitions too.
Yes.
So, okay, now I have like, all this stuff. One of the things that I've heard you say, and maybe it's from our sister friend Christy, I don't know who actually said it, but the universe has three answers for us, and it's yes, not yet, or there's something better, which that just dropped in to share as part of when you're growing or changing or things feel like they're shifting. That is something that I can find comfort in during times of resistance or wondering, maybe what could feel like frustration for timelines that are different,
Yeah.
or wondering if the work you're putting in is working. Just things that are really, things that can bring comfort is remembering that. And that's something that's really simple
Yeah,
to return to.
yeah,
And then also, one of the things too that I had mentioned to you about transitions is sometimes I think our minds can hang on what we know, which can be a very limited view.
our
And-
minds do hang on to what we know. because it's safe.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so our souls, or our hearts, or our, however you want, your inner being, what your intuition, really understands, one, that you're always safe, which even saying that can bring up feelings.
Yeah.
You're always safe, and that there is a path that's actually like way different, bigger, more expansive. And so sometimes we think, oh, this transition means this, when really it means something so much bigger and grander and more wonderful. Like, I just got chills all the way down my legs saying that. You know, there is so much more available to us than our brains and our minds sometimes trick us into believing.
Yeah. And it's not the brain's fault. That is what the brain is here to do. It's here to keep you secure. It's here to keep you comfortable and in the lane that it knows best, in the familiar lane. Our teacher, Jess Lively, talks about this, the way that she describes the brain versus our soul. It's not versus. Our brain and our soul in relationship with our soul. So she has this favorite store in Portugal, and she can see 3 items in the window, 3 outfits, right, of possibility. And that's what the brain sees. So that's what, when we ask for something like, I want this opportunity, I want this much money, I want this partner, that's, our brain is like, okay, I have this partner in mind, I have this opportunity in mind, and I have this amount of money in mind. And that's, the brain gets really comfortable, and then you walk into the store, and that's the universe, or our soul, or our path, or heart, whatever, and there's endless outfits available to choose from, and mix and match and added, and that is, to me, like, that's a beautiful metaphor, right? Like, all I see, so my example that keeps coming up is ends moving out, right? And it's in some ways, I'm gonna get emotional.
Yeah, I know. Well,
it's a like, it seems to the mind like a loss, right? Like, I've had my best friend, one of my best friends, upstairs in the treehouse for the last year and a half.
It's like a dream.
Yeah, it is. It is a dream.
It totally is.
And Micah's had her auntie, and Justin had somebody who's grounded when his wife goes crazy, right? And it's been a dream. And so I can't, my mind, and it's done, I've done a lot of work around this, but my mind can't imagine a better scenario. But as we say in our family, the better it gets, and the best is yet to come.
Yeah.
So yes, this was a beautiful scenario. This was a beautiful dream for the last year and a half, and now we get to wait for an even better dream, right? So yeah, transitions can be challenging.
And it's okay also to appreciate the grief in it.
Yeah.
Like, the letting go process is a release of energy.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And just further opening to the possibilities of what it means, and also remembering that the manifestation for us as individuals and as whatever, sister friends, is a village and community.
Right.
And that lives on.
Even through the space and time of East Side to Rosewood. Rosedale.
Allendale.
That's funny.
Allendale.
All right, we have 5 seconds. 4, 3. See you.
We love you.